I'm going to be honest with you. For the last few months, I've been actively avoiding the iOS 26 update on my iPhone 15 Pro Max. I was perfectly happy sticking with iOS 18.7, but curiosity finally got the best of me, and I decided to take the plunge and see what Apple's latest update is all about. Now, I know iOS 26 has a lot of strengths, but I was holding back mainly because I am just not a fan of the new liquid glass design. I'd seen it on other iPhones and it just didn't click with me. However, the improved camera layout was tempting, so I figured it was time to try it on my daily driver. Let's talk about that liquid glass look first. Thankfully, in most of the apps I use every day, it doesn't really make a huge difference. But the home screen is another story, especially when you group apps together in folders. When you put apps in a folder, they create this weird warped glass effect over your wallpaper. It's a bit distracting. Now, you can adjust the transparency, but that brings me to my second issue with iOS 26. It's surprisingly convoluted. For example, if I want to reduce that warping effect on the app folders, I have to dive into the Settings app, go to Accessibility, then Display and Text, and find the option to turn on Reduce Transparency. But wait, there's more. If I want to change the overall look of liquid glass, like the icons themselves, I have to go to a completely different section, Display and Brightness in the main Settings menu, and that doesn't even let you change the tint of the icons. To do that, you have to make adjustments directly from the home screen. It just feels scattered. Why not put all these customization options in one single, easy-to-find place? It's not a deal breaker, but it's an odd design choice. I was also a bit worried about how my favorite apps would behave after the update. The good news is, for the most part, the changes are just cosmetic. Apps like Discord, Twitch, and my Kindle app all work exactly as they did before. Phew. However, Apple's own built-in apps have seen some noticeable changes, particularly the camera and Apple Music. Honestly, I actually prefer the new layout of the camera app. I'm not someone who takes a ton of photos, and I often forget about all the powerful options my iPhone has. The new design makes those features more prominent and easier to access, streamlining the whole experience. It's a definite improvement. The biggest differences I've noticed are the new navigation bar and the ability to swipe between songs on the play bar. The navigation bar is fine, purely a stylistic choice, but the swiping feature is confusing. You can only swipe to change songs when you're actively inside the Apple Music app. You can't do it from the dynamic island when you're in another app, and you can't do it from the lock screen either. It feels like a half-finished feature. So what about Apple Intelligence? Even though my iPhone 15 Pro Max supports it, I don't really use it much, and iOS 26 hasn't changed that. That's because this update doesn't bring any major new AI features. It mostly just enhances existing capabilities, like visual intelligence and image playground. Apple Intelligence still feels like it's trailing behind what Samsung and Google offer, and we've been told not to expect a major Siri update until next year. So, after all that, what's my final verdict on upgrading to iOS 26? It's not terrible. You can get used to the visual changes, and most of your apps will work just fine. But it feels more complicated than it needs to be, and the changes to Apple's own apps feel more like a side grade than a true upgrade. Have you upgraded your iPhone? What has your experience been like? Let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow for more reviews and analysis.